P.O. Joseph is the big name, I think the biggest name down in Wilkes-Barre that is currently a restricted free agent. Horwat, when he comes to P.O. Joseph, obviously the Penguins are going to look to re-sign him. He is their best and only, I guess only until this past Friday, their only really good defensive prospect, but he's definitely the only one that is close to making to the NHL. What do you think they do with P.O. Joseph? Do you think there's a type of contract that you're thinking of right now? And what do you think happens with them going forward?
I don't know if he can really demand any. I guess he could if he really tried to. It'd be similar to what I mentioned with Heinen's former deal, or the one I want to give Kapanen, except maybe an extra year or two on it, just because this team and this management group and this coaching staff need to show that they want him around, that they want him to play. And that involves more than just actually playing him. They need to pay him like they want to play him. I mean, hey, if we were willing to give Juuso Riikola that kind of money and literally play him 5 games after that, I think you could do the same thing with Joseph. Give him that kind of money if you need him to stick around. If you needed to convince him, hey, we're gonna play you, we're gonna put you in the NHL, we're gonna put you in the lineup, prove it with some paper, prove it with some money, and have them sign on the dotted line that says we are going to play you. Something to keep him around because he's also arbitration eligible, I think, which could be interesting because if the Penguins really don't like him for whatever reason, don't want him around, they don't have to. Which sucks. He's our top defensive prospect. Yeah. Vastly ahead of our number 2, who was probably our most recent draft pick. So we don't have much going on in the defensive prospect world. So we need him around. Regardless of what the team wants to do with him, we need him around. We need him in the league. So I would say if a new deal comes along for him, I don't know, just because of his NHL past, if he really can demand any more than a little over league min.
I don't think he will be able to either. Yeah. No. And I don't think an arbitrator would give him that much more. I think maybe he would probably get over $1 million, but there's no way he would come anywhere close to $2 million on his deal just because he's only played in
20 games.
I was about to say a dozen or so games at the NHL level. I guess he had like a 17-game stint his first time because of injury to other defensemen. But when you look at P.O. Joseph, yes, it's still a lot of, hey, potential. He's shown a little bit at the NHL level, but he also showed that he needed a little bit more to work on down at the AHL level. We didn't see him all that much last season. We don't know what he's going to look like this next season, or if he's even going to make the team coming out of camp next season. I would give him a pretty good opportunity. I would say, especially if they trade a defenseman, he has a great opportunity to make the roster, or at the very least, make the NHL squad coming out, and he's going to have to battle with Mark Friedman maybe on that left side. But when you look at P.O. Joseph, what can he realistically do? Because he's not going to be able to command a lot of money. But you know what's one thing that he might be able to fight for? Hey, I want a one-way contract because I want to play in the National Hockey League. And if you guys aren't going to use me, then you can either bring me up on a one-way, send me down, and risk losing me through waivers, which the Pittsburgh Penguins don't want. If anything, if they're going to trade him, they're going to want to get something back for him. I think that's something that he's probably going to argue. Now, do I think that P.O. Joseph's going to get a one-way contract? No, I don't. We saw Juuso Riikola get one, and we were all baffled. I don't think you see it from P.O. Joseph just because he is like the only Pittsburgh Penguins defensive prospect that is within the next 3 years of making it to the National Hockey League at that level. So it's going to be interesting. I think the Penguins do utilize him this season, and I do think he does get under contract. I think it's probably going to be under 1.25, and it might be a 2-year deal, maybe a 3-year deal if the organization likes him that much. But from what I've heard, Hextall and Burke aren't as keen on him as Jim Rutherford was when he brought him over. So who knows what's going on with P.O. Joseph? Clearly, with the Letang stuff out of the way and the Malkin stuff coming to a head, we're going to start hearing more about these guys, about Heinen and Kapanen, who we talked about, and specifically about a trade that could potentially open up a slot for P.O. Joseph.
Well, RFA qualifying offers are due today. So we're going to find stuff out today. And one thing that I find really interesting with the P.O. Joseph saga, really, is that so he's been progressing and developing at a slower pace than normal, which happens. But I'm going to take Bob Grove's word for it when he said if he isn't utilized this year and put in a good space this year, it could be a very short career in the NHL for him, because this is it for him, really.
Mm.
He's at the age of 22 now, 23. He just turned 23 a couple days ago. Things need to happen for him this year, because we are in a weird league now that, sure, we're talking about re-signing 35-year-olds for 6 years.
Mm.
But at the same aspect, we're watching these kids that are 18, or at least we used to, not so much anymore, 18, 19, 20, winning Conn Smythes, winning Norris trophies.
Mm-hmm.
These are kids beginning to run this league. Connor McDavid broke into this league at 18. Sidney Crosby broke into this league at 18. McDavid's won multiple MVPs. Not much more, but still, you get where I'm coming from. These kids are taking over this league. At the age of 23, all of a sudden, P.O. Joseph's an old guy. Let's say he doesn't play this year. He hits 24, still only 20 games of NHL experience. Maybe he gets a few more in, maybe 25. Oh, man, no team's going to look at that and go, that's our guy. Because you ruined his prospect rating.
And he still has an opportunity to be a top 4.
Absolutely.
But he's never going to be the guy if he keeps being delayed like this. And here's the thing, especially defensemen usually take a little bit longer to develop. And at the age of 22, clearly you're not ready to give up on a guy like P.O. Joseph. But once he gets, he's 23 now. But once he gets to 25, 26, at that point, it's like, shit or get off the pot, man.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be a top 4 defenseman in this league, or are you going to be a fringe NHLer? He's not there yet. He's not there yet to me. I still think there's a lot of promise. There's a lot of potential, and I know you do too. But we need to start seeing it at the NHL level. And this is the first year that it really becomes, hey, rubber to the road. Let's go. Let's see what you got at the NHL level. And I think that's what the Pittsburgh Penguins are thinking as well.